savory pumpkin recipes that are super delicious and just very cozy, rustic, home style, comfort foodie types of savory pumpkin recipes that are perfect for the fall and autumn. First up, I've got a potato, pumpkin, and mushroom stew topped with homemade rosemary buttermilk biscuits. Now these sound so fancy, it seems really complicated, but actually it's really easy to make biscuits. And this is kind of a 2-for-1 recipe because you're getting this recipe, but also the rosemary biscuit recipe that you can save for if you want to make like a savory breakfast sandwich, or if you want to have them on hand for the holidays to kind of serve alongside of like a holiday dinner. They would be perfect for that. And they're so easy to make. I actually made them in like a cereal bowl. So not fancy, really delicious. And then after that, I'm going to show you how to make a savory pumpkin tart. Now this is really great as either a accompaniment to like a big salad, if you have a bottle of wine and a salad. And this tart, it just feels very fancy, definitely like something you could get at a restaurant, but it's very easy to make and something that is also really good as an appetizer because it's good warm and at room temperature. So it's a great kind of like party finger food as well. I teamed up with Thrive Market to bring you this video because it's where I loaded up on all of my pantry essentials for the fall, like flour and baking powder and baking soda and vanilla extract and cinnamon and all my savory spices too, like sage and turmeric and nutmeg and all the things that I use all the time. I get them on Thrive because they're a lot cheaper than the grocery store, but also I don't have to actually go to the grocery store. So I order it from my couch, it gets shipped to my house in recyclable packaging. I save a trip to the store, I save the time, I save money. It's a win-win. So if you want to try Thrive Market, make sure you check out the link in the description box and let's get started. We're going to start out by making some vegan rosemary buttermilk biscuits. These are so delicious and really easy to make. All I'm going to do is take some flour, and a great trick to make sure that you actually get the right measurement of flour is just to spoon it into the measuring cup and level it off. That way it's not too densely packed. I'm just going to add the flour to a bowl along with some baking powder for lift and salt for flavor. Then just mix that all together and set it aside. And for the wet ingredients, I'm going to make my own vegan buttermilk just with some almond milk and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. This is going to curdle and taste like buttermilk. Another great trick I have is for measuring butter. You may have noticed that vegan butter has a little line on the outside so you can measure out the tablespoons of butter that you need, but I find that they're almost never lined up properly, which makes it kind of tricky. So I unwrap it, I flip it over, and then I can line up the butter on the little line, which makes it so much easier and a lot more accurate. Now making biscuits is super easy. There's only one thing that you need to keep in mind, and that is that the butter needs to be cold. I know that seems like it shouldn't really matter, like why would that matter? But it's because cold butter has moisture in it, more moisture in it, and it's going to basically evaporate while the biscuits cook. And that evaporation creates layers within the biscuits and creates like a fluffy, flaky biscuit as opposed to something that's greasier or denser. It honestly makes all the difference in the world, and it's easy. Just make sure the butter's cold. That's all you gotta do. So you kind of mash that in with the flour, add your almond milk, add the rosemary because these are rosemary biscuits, and then I just let that hang out in the fridge while I make the rest of my meal. So you're going to need some onion. Go ahead and chop it up and add that to your pot. Then I'm going to add in some mushrooms, and you can slice your mushrooms if you want, but I think it's way easier, faster, and a lot more fun just to kind of rip them up and put them directly into the pot as well. I add garlic, some dried sage, some fresh rosemary. I don't even bother chopping that. I just throw the whole thing in. I'll take it out when the meal is finished. Now, a great way to add flavor without having to add any animal products is to actually use a little bit of miso paste. This is a chickpea miso, so it's great for those of you who don't want to use soy if you're allergic or whatever, but any kind of light miso paste will do, and it's going to add a really great depth of flavor. Then I'm going to add in some white wine and let that simmer. Then I add some canned lentils for heartiness, and of course the star of the show, the pumpkin. I also add in some potatoes, mix this all together, and add some veggie broth. I like to use low sodium. Then I'm just going to mix in some flour mixed with water. This is going to thicken the sauce into a really delicious gravy. I love recipes like this because you really just kind of throw everything into a big pot and let it simmer away on the stove. And in the meantime, I went ahead and I just rolled out my biscuit dough, and then I'm using a cookie cutter to create these pretty circle shapes. But if you don't have a cookie cutter like this, you could just use a glass and that would work really well also. So this is going to go into the oven. It needs about 30 to 35 minutes for the biscuits to get brown and crispy and flaky. And during that time, I love to enjoy the way that this kind of makes me feel, knowing that dinner is in the oven, it'll be ready soon, my house smells good, and all I have to do is kind of just chill for a little while. So I will use this time productively to relax. I will have some of that wine that I used earlier, I'll make a cup of tea and chill out for about 30 minutes and just enjoy the homey feeling that making a meal like this creates in the kitchen. And when it comes out, this is what it's going to look like. It will be flaky and crispy on top and really, really flavorful because of the herbs and the garlic, and they all kind of infuse into the pumpkin and the potatoes. The mushrooms make this really hearty, and the herbs, again, like that rosemary, is just a really fall autumn flavor. And with those biscuits, the biscuits really tie it all together. So I hope you guys love this one because this is like fall in a bowl. Next, we're going to go ahead and make a really delicious savory pumpkin tart, but this time we're going to take some help from the store. I like using frozen puff pastry, and there are some accidentally vegan options on the market that are pretty widely available, so just check the ingredients. I just put this in the fridge to thaw, and then I just kind of lay it out flat. And I'm going to take a little bit of the dough and use this cute little mini leaf-shaped cookie cutter to make my topping. This is going to go on top and just make it look so fancy and really festive. And you can use any shape you like, of course. Now, again, I'm going to take some help from the store, and instead of making my own pumpkin, I'm just going to use some canned pumpkin. I got this on Thrive Market, of course, and I got the spices on Thrive as well. It's a great place to find cinnamon and nutmeg and kosher salt, all of which go into this bowl. And then that sauce is done. You just mix it together. Then for the cream sauce, I'm just going to take some soaked cashews with some sage. I love using sage this time of year. It is so great. And I'm going to add a little bit more miso paste, again for a depth of flavor, some salt, and some olive oil for creaminess. Then I just add in some unsweetened almond milk, blend this up, and you have this beautiful, silky sage cream sauce that is so flavorful. You can definitely use this as a pasta sauce. I'm sure some of you are already thinking that. You definitely can. It's great on pizza. It's great for like making a fall lasagna. I've made pumpkin lasagna before. It's just a great recipe to have in your back pocket. And of course, all the recipes that you saw in this video are going to be linked in the description box below. So I like to just dollop on the pumpkin mixture, and then using the back of a spoon, you just kind of create these pretty swirls. And this is going to create kind of a marbled effect, which I think looks really pretty. And I'm just going to add some diced onion on top. You want to make sure that you chop this pretty small so that it cooks in the oven. And then I like to top each piece with my little leaf cutouts and a little drizzle of olive oil to make sure that everything gets nice and brown. When it comes out of the oven, I really like to garnish this with some fresh rosemary and some pomegranates, not only because it's a nice pop of color, but also because it adds an incredibly delicious burst of flavor that really contrasts this kind of savory, buttery, flaky crust and the creamy, cheesy cashew sauce. This would be a great kind of date night in with a salad and a bottle of wine, or a really great appetizer if you're having a little socially distanced get together. I honestly think it's so delicious, and I know you're gonna love it. In the description box below, I have a little grocery list for you to make it easy, as well as a printable version of these recipes, because I know that you guys have asked for printable versions of the recipes. So when you click the link on the blog post, there will be a PDF that you can literally just print out and hang up on your fridge. I hope that makes it convenient for you. I thought really quickly I would show you some other things that I picked up on Thrive to give you some ideas. I got pumpkin pie spice. I got pumpkin granola, which I have not tried, but I'm really excited about. I also got a big old thing of apple cider vinegar because I use that a lot for baking mostly, but also sometimes for salad dressings and things. But acid plus baking powder equals lift. in baking. So I use it all the time in cakes and in muffins and all those sorts of recipes. So I got a big old bottle of that. I also got my favorite vegan chocolate chips. That's what I used to make the chocolate peanut butter cups that you saw in a recent video. A lot of you guys asked for that recipe. So yes, I will be doing that in a video very soon. But these are the chocolate chips I used and I love them. They melt really nicely and they have a great flavor and they're all vegan. So that is just some of what I got. I hope this video gave you some good ideas and that you will have a really wonderful, cozy evening in enjoying these savory pumpkin recipes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you guys in a video very soon. Bye.